Hey, what's up guys, it's Hedrymas here. Today I'm going to show you how a lot of Necrolord elemental shamans could get some more damage out of their Covenant ability than they currently do. Now the thing I'm going to show you only really applies if you're using Emeni as your soulbind, and the reason for this is because of the lead by example passive. Whenever you use Primordial Wave, you'll get a short 7.5 second window where you can get up to 13% more intellect if you're close to other players. And if you plan accordingly, you could get an increase in damage that can push your damage to the next level. Now I'm gonna be honest, I used to just fire and forget this ability, but once I got a weaker that tracks how much int I actually got, depending on what position I'm in, I actually started playing slightly differently and I increased my DPS without too much effort. Now I'm gonna first show you how I play with it on single target, and after that I'll show you some AoE scenarios for Mythic Plus, for example. So the main thing on single target is, like, on pull you'll always be doing the same thing like you're currently doing, but while the fight is going, what you want to do is you want to kind of plan for it. So let's say, for example, we're at 60 Maelstrom and it's like 3 seconds for Primordial Wave to come off cooldown. If we have the legendary, let me swap real quick. If we have this legendary Wind Speakers, then we know we're guaranteed gonna get a stronger lava burst after our Earth Shock. So what we want to do is kind of like make sure that we're at a place where we can cast a lava burst just after our Primordial Wave, Earth Shock, instant lava burst again, and if it lines up, maybe we can even use some lightning bolts there as well, which is really nice. Now first I'm going to be doing my rotation a little bit, and then once it's about to come up, I'll try to play around it a little bit so you can see what I mean. So let's do a normal pull. Let's do this target actually. So also, you see here 5%, this is because I'm standing by myself. If I wasn't standing by myself, I would actually get 13%. So now you can see it's 32 seconds until then, so we don't really have to think about it that much right now. I'm just using my Ice Fury stacks to make sure I don't waste them. But like I said on stream a lot of times, like, it's fine wasting Ice Fury stacks. We're starting to close in on getting Primordial Wave. So now see, I'm just doing lightning bolts. And now, Primordial Wave, just as my thing ended. And now I can maybe get this in as well. Yep. And look at that. Look. Did you see how many abilities I got in there? Like, in the small window of my Primordial Wave, which was buffed by, well, now it was buffed by 5%, but if you're playing in a group, it's going to be buffed by 13%. So that's 13% more intellect, which is a lot, by the way. And I managed to do what? I managed to do a lava burst, an earth shock, another lava burst, one elemental blast, and then another earth shock and an instant lava burst for 20% more damage again. Like, that's pretty crazy. And like you saw, I might have, like, I lost maybe a little bit of damage because, well, I planned a little bit wrong, and that lava burst, like, it just stayed there, or like it just, the second stack came off cooldown just as my Primordial Wave came up. But I think the 13% more damage on all those other abilities, or 13% more intellect on all those other abilities, was worth more. Now, one thing you have to know about Primordial Wave is if I will cast a lava burst right here, I'll show you now. I'll put Flame Shock up. If I do a lava burst, my lava burst hits for 5,529. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Primordial Wave, but I'm going to pop Primordial Wave just after my lava burst goes off. And you'll see that lava burst also gets buffed by Primordial Wave while it's still traveling. So if you do a cast like lava burst and finish it off with a Primordial Wave, you'll get a little bit more like extra damage out, because otherwise you would have to do Primordial Wave and then do your lava burst, which means that you won't get that extra damage on that initial lava burst. So let me show you. So let me just reapply the dot. I'm gonna do lava burst and then Primordial Wave, which is 7% because I'm next to this guy, 5,866 damage. So that's just some extra damage I got out there. It's a small detail, but it will give you that extra damage on that one cast, which, you know, granted it's not much, but if you want to optimize your damage, that's how you do it. Now, one thing you also can do is use your Stormkeeper stacks with your lightning bolts when Primordial Wave comes off cooldown during combat. So now let's imagine we're just DPSing. And it's gonna come off cooldown. Let's say Stormkeeper comes off cooldown now. I will save my Stormkeeper. So what I'm doing now, you see? Okay, 3, 2, 1, and now I'm gonna start bursting. I'm gonna use Earthshock so I can get this in. And I think I just didn't get my last Stormkeeper Lightning Bolt in. But as you can see, what you wanna also do is you wanna prioritize high hitting abilities over others. So for example, if you're doing your Primordial Wave with 13% more intellect, you might wanna do, if for example in a regular situation you would do a Lightning Bolt, which is unempowered, but you have a Lava Burst stack available, you might wanna cast a Lava Burst. Just because your Lava Burst will deal more damage and is buffed by 13%. Like sure, you might not be playing optimally, but because you're doing it during that 13% more intellect window, you'll probably gain more damage than you lose. And now let's show an AoE situation. Let's go with the Earthquake Legendary because I'm gonna need this one for this example. So what I try to do in Mythic Plus is after a pack, like I'm simulating after a pack now. So what we don't want to do before the next pack is we want to have this buff up. Now I'm gonna build Maelstrom. So we want to have this buff up and have Maelstrom up. So when we go to the next pack, let me show you. I'm gonna pre-Stormkeeper, pre-cast Lava Burst, Flame Shock, Primordial Wave, Earthquake, Chain Lightning, Earthshock, Chain Lightning, Earthquake. So what happened there is I did 12k burst, which you know, were like kind of unbuffed, and also we're not really like insane like hunters or anything. But what I did there also, I only had 5% intellect instead of the 13% I normally would have had if I was playing in a group. But basically, the reason we want to have that Earthquake proc from the Legendary, which is called Echoes of the Great Sundering, before the pack and have the Maelstrom is because the only Earthquake that will get full value from the 13% intellect will be the one we place on pool. And what I do there, the reason I cast, even though I capped on Maelstrom, which is completely fine, the reason I precast Lava Burst is because I usually play with Master of the Elements. So I precast that Lava Burst, then did the Flame Shock. So I had Master of the Elements up, which means my next Earthquake will deal 20% more damage, which was a lot because that one is buffed by, how much is it again? 175? Yeah, 175 additional damage, which is crazy. So I precasted my Lava Burst with the Flame Shock. And then, because I had everything ready before the pool, I Primordial Waved, I put the Earthquake down, which is buffed by 20% plus 13% intellect, which is insane. Like that Earthquake is going to do crazy damage. And then I could instantly use a Stormkeeper Chain Lightning, which does a lot of damage as well, buffed by 13% again. Then do an Earthshock for our next Earthquake, which we want to try and get as fast as possible. Then a Chain Lightning again with the Stormkeeper, and then an Earthquake, which will get like, I don't know, 1-2 ticks off. But if it's on a big pack, that is 1-2 ticks, which is 13% more intellect ticks, you know? So that's actually a lot. So let me show you again how much one Earthquake does. This is like not completely buffed, this is only on 3 targets as well. So we want to get our stuff ready. I'm just gonna like show you how strong that Earthquake is gonna be, and I'm gonna spam something just so I don't leave combat. I hope these two people are close enough so I actually get 4% extra intellect, but we'll see. Okay, so get the buff up. Precast Lava Burst. Okay, I only got 7%. Okay, I'm not going to place the other Earthquake because I wanted to see how much damage that Earthquake did on 3 targets. So it's one Earthquake. One Earthquake did 30k on 3 targets, so 10k damage on every single mob. And I only crit once, 5% crit. It's actually really unlucky. But it's going to get buffed even more if you're playing with 5 people. Now, I keep saying this, that, you know, you'll do more damage if you're with more people. But you do have to keep in mind, it's 2% additional intellect for each ally affected, which is nearby. And nearby actually means kind of close. Like I have a weak arrow for this, I can link it in the comments, so you can't see it here, you only see it when it's active. But the weak arrow will show me that when I press the button, how much intellect I will actually get. So one thing I started doing is, for example, in the raid, because I have this little weak arrow that shows me, I used to just, for example, while I'm running, pop Primordial Wave, and then do like Lava Burst, so I have damage while running. but it's probably not ideal. You probably want to save it for the few seconds you're running back to the group, because if you pop it, for example, 1 second later, let's say I'm running back from an ability, I could pop Primordial Wave, but if I waited 1 second until I'm next to my 2 friends over here, I will get more out of it. So if I use it now, I should get 9%. See, I get 9%. So that's 4% more intellect. It's only for 7.5 seconds, but like I said, it adds up. If you do this for every single Primordial Wave, which is every 4 to 5 seconds, you get that little bit extra out, you'll get your DPS to the next level. You might not like see it, like you'd be crazy much higher, but if you're playing against another elemental shaman, for example, and you're both same gear and stuff, you might get that little edge over him, unless you're like Giga unlucky on procs or something. Anyway, that was it. I don't think I forgot anything, but if I did, or if you have any questions, please ask me in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Anyway, thank you for watching and see you later.